Jujutsu Kaisen was one of the biggest hits in anime in both 2020 and 2021, with many people referring to it as one of the best anime ever created. Some people went as far as to call it shonen perfection. Now obviously, I disagree with this statement, as I personally found the anime to be overhyped, with currently underwhelming characters led by a generic protagonist and no enticing villain for me to wish for the heroes to defeat. Now before I explain my somewhat controversial opinion, I would like to clarify that I did enjoy this anime and I'm looking forward to the future installments in the series. I just think that people referring to this as a masterpiece or shonen perfection may have jumped the gun a little and might want to hold on to their praise at least for now. Jujutsu Kaisen centers around Yuji Itadori, a teenager with pink hair. Honestly, that's all I can say on his character, as he doesn't have that much of a personality, at least in the first season. So anyway, Yuji is playing at school with his occult friends when they play with a rotten finger, which Yuji eats to protect his friends from curses that are attracted to said finger. After having a meal that was finger-swallowingly good, Yuji discovers that he is now the host of Sukuna, an extremely powerful curse. This means that Yuji has to be exorcised. However, upon witnessing Yuji retain control over Sukuna, Gojo, who's here now, decides not to exorcise Yuji and instead proposes that they wait until Yuji has eaten all of Sukuna's fingers so that they can kill Sukuna once and for all. Sounds easy, right? Simple child's play. Wrong. See, Yuji has to go to high school, and on top of this, Yuji has to work with Megumi and Nobara to complete Team 7. See, now this is my major issue with Jujutsu Kaisen, is that a lot of its DNA can be attributed to what has come before. Gojo feels very similar to Kakashi, for example. Both lead a group of rebellious teams, both are infamous within their universes, both have powerful abilities relating to their eyes, which they both cover up. Heck, they even look like each other. The Three Stooges are clearly based off Team 7, and it's not just Naruto that's getting ripped off. Bleach is also a heavy influence on Jujutsu Kaisen, something that manga Gigi Akutami has admitted to, as Bleach was the inspiration for Akutami to be a mangaka, with Todo, for example, being inspired by Kenpachi. People have also noted similarities between Yuji and Sukuna and Naruto and Kurama, but I personally thought of their relationship as being more similar to Ichigo's and Hollow Ichigo's, since, like Sukuna, Hollow Ichigo was much more powerful and would sometimes take over Ichigo's body to fight a powerful opponent. Now, taking inspiration from successful properties is not a bad thing, and Jujutsu Kaisen does do its own thing and is not a straight rip-off, but it's just too similar for the show to step out of the other's shadow for me personally. So anyway, they go on a mission and Yuji dies, but not really, he's fine, and Gojo trains him in secret whilst everyone else thinks that he's dead. This is where we meet my favourite character, Nanami, who's just the best. So anyway, Yuji meets a boy, befriends the boy is then killed, so then Nanami and Yuji just go to town on this murderer. They just beat the crap out of this guy, and I will admit, I usually don't care about animation. It's not something that typically tickles my fancy, but the animation in Jujutsu Kaisen is just legendary, and it's well worth watching this anime just for that alone. So they beat up this Mahito guy with Sukuna's help, obviously, and then Gojo reveals to everyone that Yuji's alive, but everyone wants him dead, until they are all forced together to repel an invasion, which they do successfully. They do beat the crap out of this other guy. It's another great fight scene with Todo and Yuji teaming up. I love that. And then the anime ends after a final mission where Team 7 work together for the second time, or third time in the anime, to kill some curses. The end. So now that you know what happens in Jujutsu Kaisen, allow me to attempt to explain why I don't love the series as much as everyone else does. The reason why is the same as the one at the start of the video. I didn't care about the characters. Yuji, Megumi and Nobara are not in enough scenes for their relationships to develop with one another. Independently, they're good characters, but together they have not been given the room to breathe and form a proper friendship. The same is true of the secondary characters and the tertiary characters, who I care so little for that they could literally die at the start of the second season and I would lose no sleep over it whatsoever. If Panda dies at the beginning of season 2, I would sleep like a baby. Wait, babies don't typically sleep that well. I mean, I would sleep like someone who sleeps very well and doesn't have insomnia, okay? For comparison, let's look at Demon Slayer. Let's look at only the first season of Demon Slayer, just to be fair. The relationship between those characters is much deeper and their character arcs better presented to the audience. These characters are on a journey and you know where they're headed. I have no idea where Megami or Nabara's stories are going after this first season, and I have no reason to believe that they'd put their life on the line for Yuji. Inosuke gets introduced around the halfway point of Demon Slayer Season 1, and yet by the end of the season, I believe that he would die for Tanjiro or Zenitsu. I do not get that feeling from Megami or Nabara, who were around for an entire season. Now I know this video has been pretty negative, but I do like Jujutsu Kaisen. It has god tier animation, I hope that Mappa are paying their anime as well, and a fantastic dub, with praise from myself going to Robbie Daymond, Kaiji Tang, Ray Chase, and David Vincent, who voiced Megami, Gojo, Sukuna, and Nanami. Bat-eared viewers might recognise Adam MacArthur from Star vs. the Force of Evil, where he voices Marco. In Jujutsu Kaisen, he's the voice of Yuji. The issue with Jujutsu Kaisen is that I think we're getting a repeat of Attack on Titan, where a lot of people, myself included, heap bundles of praise on it, only for later arcs to show us what true perfection is. A lot of manga readers have been hyping up this Shibuya arc to me, and have told me that Yuta, the protagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, is a much better protagonist than Yuji. And I've heard in the manga that Yuji and Yuta kind of both take on the protagonist role. They both help each other out and all this, and Yuta's the more compelling character. So it seems like a lot of my issues are going to get addressed in the later seasons of this anime, which I look forward to happening. And I will probably, just like with Attack on Titan, be converted to being Team Jujutsu Kaisen. But for now, I am much more of a casual viewer than a mega fan, and I'm sure that will change. I'm sure I will get tattoos of Jujutsu Kaisen on my head one day, but for now, I am merely just excited, but I'm not going to rush to see the next season or the movie. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Goodbye.